On Larry King Now, radio host Enrique Santos.
The conversation now is really going towards not just being bilingual, but being truly bicultural. It's about being authentic, living in both worlds, and people are able to identify with you. And if people identify with you, they listen to you more. Him not having compassion, and obviously he doesn't. It's concerning that when's the last time you ever heard Donald Trump or President Trump say something that's truly meaningful and that you're proud of? That concerns me.
Wait a minute. You made a prank call to Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez?
It was more complicated to get through to Chavez. It was easier actually to get through Fidel. And when I told Fidel it was a prank, he let me have it.
Plus,
do you have a guilty pleasure?
A guilty pleasure? Instagram, I can't get off it.
Yeah, I can't get on it.
It's all next on Larry King Now. From the beautiful Lowe's Hotel on Miami Beach, this is Larry King Now. The prodigal son returns. Our guest today is the award-winning radio host and chairman and chief creative officer of iHeartLatino. That's iHeartMedia's new Hispanic division. Enrique hosts Tu Mañana con Enrique Santos, weekday mornings on iHeartMedia's Spanish language station 294.9. I always wanted to be on the radio since I was 5 years old.
Something tells me you should have done radio.
I should have tried.
I think you should have tried.
You wanted to be a cop?
I was a policeman. I'm a policeman turned broadcaster. How you doing, Larry? Nice to meet you.
What police force?
I worked for the city of North Miami as a police officer. And working as a police officer, I called the radio station that I used to listen to, and the guy that picked up was the program director, and he liked my voice and asked me if I'd be interested in coming in and maybe doing the weekends. And I did overnights for a while. He liked what he heard. Eventually, he tapped me to host the morning show and asked me if I'd like to leave full-time police work and go on and host the morning show, and that's what I did. And I still keep my close ties to law enforcement, and I'm a volunteer. I'm a reserve policeman for the city of Miami.
Enjoy being a cop?
I do. I keep my ties very close to the law enforcement community. I think it's very sad what's been happening, what's going on currently in the States, and if I'm able to, give back. I'm a product of the Miami streets, and to be able to lead by example now on radio, I think is very important to me.
My son went to North Miami High.
Pioneers.
I lived in Keystone Point.
Keystone Point. I used to patrol Keystone Point.
You patrolled Keystone Point?
Many of times I did. Beautiful homes there.
Oh, yeah, very nice. Wait a minute. You made a prank call to Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez?
Correct.
Hugo Chavez I knew. What do you mean prank call? What'd you do? It was on the air? It
was on the air. When I left police work in the early 2000s, I had a segment that was called Fidel Te Llama. So it was Fidel Castro's voice, but in little snippets. And I used to take those snippets, and then call people in Cuba and convince them that we had the dictator on the line. And it was just hysterical to hear people's responses. And we then took those snippets and we called El Palacio Miraflores in Caracas, Venezuela, and pranked Hugo Chavez. From the recording of Hugo Chavez, we took those snippets and then returned the phone call to Fidel Castro.
You got right through?
Right through. Well, it was more complicated to get through to Chavez. It was easier actually to get through Fidel. When I tell Hugo Chavez that it was a prank call, he just stayed quiet, said nothing. The next day, I forgot what the title was, like something to do with their communications guy or whatever his title was. They came out and they said then acknowledged that that they had been pranked by a radio station in Miami, and they were investigating to see if any crimes had been committed or whatnot. And then 6 months to the day almost, after a lot of people insisting that we call, even though I thought it was going to be impossible because they were buddies and they'd be communicating and stuff, we got Fidel Castro on the line. And when I told Fidel it was a prank, he let me have it. He just went off and said
What did you ask him about before you told him it was a prank?
Well, I think for a moment there, I think it's channeled, right, by my grandparents and my parents and the Cuban tragedy, so much separation and devastation and so many people that have died trying to
So you wanted to be mad at him?
I let him have it. I told him that he was an assassin, and he told me a bunch of other stuff and said nice things about my mother.
Jesus.
amongst other things.
Wow, I would have gone the other way, faked him out a little, and then done that.
Well, that's what we did. We faked them, got them on, and then I let them have it at the end. Now that I replay it and I listen to the call, I said, wow, maybe I could have used that opportunity to have a more serious conversation with
You
him.
know what his dying words were?
No.
Get Enrique Santos.
Oh, please don't say that.
I don't want to scare you, Enrique. It's just part of life. Tell me about iHeart Latino.
iHeart Latino is our new Spanish vertical at iHeartMedia. We're very, very proud. iHeartMedia, we're 800 plus radio stations nationwide. We reach 93% of Hispanics through all our platforms.
You left Univision. Right?
Yes, it made a lot more sense. I had a great time, great people at Univision. I'm blessed by the people that I was able to work with and had the opportunity to be able to create there with. But even much more excited now. It's more than just Enrique Santos as a brand. I'm very excited about my growth on my Spanish national morning syndicated show. Much more excited now on my the launch of my show, a national CHR show in English on iHeart radio stations. But much more excited about the opportunities, new opportunities that we're going to create for Latinos nationwide.
You work with Ryan Seacrest?
I do.
Great guy.
He's an awesome guy. And I know the story. I know he was a gentleman with you and helped you carry your luggage.
That's when I met him. I didn't know who he was. I was at de Gaulle Airport in Paris, and he came over and said, I'm a big fan of yours. And I said, you are? Carry my bags. And he carried my bags onto the plane.
He's a gentleman and a scholar, a true sweetheart. As a matter of fact, in making this decision of leaving Univision to come on with iHeart, I had plenty of conversations with him, and he was quite helpful.
Give me, what is On the Move with Enrique Santos?
On the Move with Enrique Santos is my new national CHR show that airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. to 12 noon.
What do you do on that show?
Well, it's a little bit of entertainment, current events, lifestyle, music intensive, of course. And we're doing it in such a way. We have a lot of Latinos that listen to iHeartRadio.
What percentage of America is Latino now?
Percentage now, it depends who you ask. I'd say a large amount.
They're well serviced by media, aren't they, I assume?
Yeah, well,
Univision, Telemundo, radio, iHeart.
correct. And the consumption with Latinos when it comes to radio is impressive. I don't have the actual numbers with me, but when it comes to Hispanics and blacks, we consume radio more than any other demographic in the United States.
When you go, I've been to Havana. When you go to Havana, the radios are everywhere. Everybody in Havana listens to radio.
Too bad they can't listen to what they truly want to hear, though.
I don't think that'll change.
I hope so.
Are you going to go there?
Eventually, because of the Fidel prank, I've never gone. The State Department invited me to Guantanamo.
I don't think they'll do anything to you now.
I hope not.
I don't think they check the passenger list. You could fly from Miami now, right?
You can.
Go. Beautiful city. And listen, if they arrest you at the airport, blame me.
Will you come and bail me out?
No, I don't like the competition. I'm only kidding, Enrico. Anything you want, because anyway, our guest is Enrique Santos of iHeartRadio. We'll be right back. Our guest is Enrique Santos, the very popular host on iHeartRadio. It's talk show weekday mornings on iHeartMedia's Spanish language station here, 94.9. iHeart owns WIOD, which was the station I was on, radio station, for 19 years here in Miami. All right, prior to Trump being elected, you said you were freaked out by the possibility. Does the freak out continue?
Every day.
What worries you most?
I don't know. It's every day is a new worry. I wish I could tell you it was just one aspect. You know, it's U.S. president. He's a U.S. president. The U.S. presidency is respected, such a high honor. He was elected. It's a democratic process. He should be respected. I just have a hard time respecting somebody that doesn't respect others to the level that he has taken it. Some of the things, and you see the memes and the jokes that come around, you get text around, it gets passed around amongst buddies and friends and in the industry and family and whatnot. And I said, wow, a lot of this stuff would be funny if it weren't so sad. So what worries me, it's just every day is a new worry. And especially for, you know, my grandparents, parents are immigrants to this great country. So what worries me most is when you see when you see the kids that absolutely have nothing to do with what's going on and they're being separated from their parents. Obviously, every country has the right to and has to have borders and defend their country and controls who enters and who exits. But for so many years, this country has looked the other way when it's been convenient for us, with the migrant population and people coming into the country undocumented. After September 11th, obviously a different type of conversation. It has to be handled, but not this way.
I know him for 35 years. I think he's very impressed with himself. He has an enormous egomaniacal thing. He's very impressed with money. So I would say, I don't think he hates people because of their race, color, or creed, but he might feel demeaning toward people who don't have it. So I don't think he cares that much for poor people, but money controls him. So I wouldn't call it racist.
I don't have
I'd call it maybe classist.
There you go. I mean, I don't have a problem with him liking money. He likes a lot of people like money. Fine, I can get over that. But him not having compassion, and obviously he doesn't, or care, I mean, it's concerning that when's the last time you ever heard Donald Trump or President Trump say something that's truly meaningful and that you're proud of? That concerns me.
Now, he is a strong defender of the police, law and order, and you love being a policeman. On that part, do you like him?
I mean, other than just, I haven't truly seen him do anything that really has changed things. You know, they tried saying throughout the election that Hillary Clinton or President Obama were anti-police. I never saw that. I don't know where that came from. But that rhetoric was bouncing around, bothered me a lot, because I do know President Obama, and I have met Mrs. Clinton, Secretary Clinton as well. And so I felt that was unfair, what was being said about them. I know plenty of law enforcement officers that did secretly vote for him. They didn't say it at the beginning, and then they did vote for him. But again, it was that rhetoric. It's just people just repeated things just to repeat things, not because they studied.
What do you make of the police shootings, though, that's been going on the past few years? The victims are minorities. I mean, there are bad cops, aren't there?
Oh, of course. There's bad everything, unfortunately. But the majority of men and women in this country that put the uniform on, I can tell you from the heart, having come from and still involved in law enforcement today, are good people, people that risk their lives every day and don't know if they're coming home every day. I can tell you, I've never met a police officer that has said, well, I'm gonna go out today and kill somebody. Those are not proud moments. Those are not decisions that policemen and women want to make or take.
Did you ever draw your gun?
I did.
You ever shoot anyone?
I shot at.
You were shot at, and you shot at someone.
I discharged my firearm.
Didn't kill anybody.
No, thank God.
More with the incredible Enrique Santos of iHeartRadio, a very popular figure, especially in the Latino community in America. We'll get his thoughts on If You Only Knew. Right after this. Our guest is Enrique Santos of iHeartRadio. Was it tough to come out?
It was very tough to come out because...
Especially for the Cuban background, they're not very entertaining of that. How old were you and how did you do it?
Well, I first came out to my family. I was in my early 20s.
20s?
Yeah. I was a policeman, and I thought it was time to tell my parents and my brother, loving, accepting, like I was fortunate enough for my parents to be open-minded enough to understand it. Mom probably already know. Most moms know, by the way, before dads. They're very loving and accepting, and I'm blessed to have had that experience because unfortunately a lot of people don't have that experience, Larry. And they confront, much more so on the Latino side of it, the machismo is a big factor about it. And a lot of people, and we all have gays in our families. All of us do. I guarantee you, if you look around, someone is gay and someone is struggling with this.
You think Trump's a friend of the LGBT community? Do you think he cares?
I think you hit it right there, what you said a little while ago. I just don't think he cares. I truly don't think he cares. He hasn't proven to me that he cares.
We're going to play a game now.
I love games.
We play a little game of If You Only Knew.
As long as I don't get in trouble.
Do you have a guilty pleasure?
A guilty pleasure. Instagram, I can't get off it.
Yeah, I can't get on it. Childhood celebrity crush.
Oh my God. It'd have to be the guy, this is gonna sound bad, but it was the dude that would do the exercise on the Bowflex machine. He had such an awesome hot body. Yeah.
And how old? You were a little kid?
Yeah.
Biggest risk you've taken?
Biggest risk I've taken, besides this one of jumping with, no, this was jump with the iHeart. Biggest risk I've taken, I took a lot of them wearing the uniform as a police officer.
Secret talent?
Secret talent. I sing beautifully. In the shower when I've had a couple drinks and no one's listening.
Who would you trade places with for a day?
Larry King.
Smart. That was
I truly would.
a smart answer. Thank you. You could do the rest of the day and you can go on a tour and you could...
I love you, Larry. You're awesome.
Thank you. Something people should be paying more attention to.
The things President Trump is doing and saying.
What do people get wrong about you?
Did I say yes to everything?
Proudest moment?
And there's probably 2 or 3 up there, but and I'm sorry, they're bouncing around, but one of them has to be this very moment. Sitting in front of Larry King being interviewed by the king of media.
Thank you, Enrique. Something on your bucket list?
Something on my bucket list. I've done it, not done it all. I've done a lot of them. One day I'll man up to swim with sharks.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like scared of the scuba diving and that kind of stuff.
I don't
Yeah.
do that.
You neither?
No, I don't. I'm Jewish. You go out on the boat. What are you awful at?
I am awful at time management.
Biggest perk of being a celebrity?
Being able to meet all types of interesting people.
Most embarrassing moment on the air?
Most embarrassing moment on the air had to have been when I had just started and I opened up the microphone and I was talking to a guy that was doing a remote. And it was a remote broadcast, like he's out on the field, some car dealership or something. He finished that conversation and the pod is the actual, the things, you know, I'm trying to
call it a
layman's
pod.
term. So I thought I had brought him down, but I still had him up. And my mic was still up as well. He said, hey, how did that go? I said, it went great. I started cursing. It went effing great. And this was right on top of a commercial that was running on the radio.
And you didn't lose your job?
No, the owner of the radio station, Raúl Alarcón, at that time, I used to work for Spanish Broadcasting System when I started. God rest his soul. He was a sweetheart. He's like, what are you? Enriquito, ¿qué tú estás haciendo ahí? What are you doing there? You know, that was embarrassing.
Is there something you long believed to be true and realized wasn't?
Hillary Clinton is president of the United States.
Tell me something people don't know about you.
I'm an extraterrestrial. No, I'm kidding.
Leave it at that.
You like it? Larry said leave it at that.
We'll be right back with Enrique Santos and we'll discuss life on Mars.
E.T. for one home.
Don't go away. We're back with Enrique Santos. We'll get some questions from our viewers, but he has brought me a gift. This is really hip. The package says Enrique Santos with his initials and iHeart Latino.
But there's like 50 or 60 estimated Latinos that live in the United States inside this box for you. Ryan Seacrest helped me carry it in. I'm kidding.
Open up the box.
You want me to open it?
All right, I'll open.
I'll help you open it. It's a little heavy, but I'd love for you to open it.
Why? God. This box that's staples.
There you go.
We lift up the top. Oh, my God.
I saw you in an interview with
Wow.
Regis say that you miss the typewriter. So,
I do.
let's get rid of this one. There we go.
And it says, Larry, le bueno nunca pasa de moda, the good never gets old. Gracias, Enrico. Wow, an Underwood. This is an old typewriter.
It is. If I'm not mistaken, it's like 1920.
Yeah?
I tried to get it for your birth year, but this is the best I could do.
This is a fabulous gift.
I'm so happy
I
you like
can't
it.
thank you. I can't thank you enough. I miss typewriters. Typewriters are a forgotten thing, and they should be back, rather than those soundless kind of little computers that don't make a sound. You don't even know if you're hitting it right. This was a beauty. Underwood Standard Typewriter number 5. Where'd you get it?
It took a little work, research online, but we found it. Again, I tried finding something closer to the 30s. If I'm not mistaken, it's late 1920s. Authentic, real deal. Still works. I typed that for you this morning.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. I will treasure this.
Awesome. I'm happy you like it.
I used to do my USA Today columns on a Royal typewriter. Okay, we have some social. Thank you very much. I'm humbled.
Thank you, Larry.
Social media question. Jorge Aligat tweets: with your role, in what ways will you be festering new Latinx talent? Looking forward to seeing more diversity on the radio.
Well, that's exactly what it's all about. The conversation now is really going towards not just being bilingual, but being truly bicultural. You know, the audience and the audience that we're tapping into, again, there's a big percentage of it, a big group of people that listen to our radio stations that are Latinos. But it's about being authentic, you know, living in both worlds, and people are able to identify with you. And if people identify with you, they listen to you more. Looking for more people that are not just bilingual, bicultural.
Melissa Baralt tweets: linguists love you because you are a model of bilingualism in the United States. How do you know when to switch languages for your listeners? Good question.
Great question. Well, some of it just comes very, very naturally without, as a matter of fact, most of the time I don't even realize it. When you're speaking, there's something that I do, it's called glossing, that I just recently, again, learned the term. That it's when you're really truly able to, you know, speak both languages, or when you're someone speaking in English, being able to translate into another language simultaneously. So just a lot of it's done, I mean, honestly, thanks to mom and dad, because they spoke Spanish to me at home. You know, my friends, and in school I spoke in English, but at home, mom and dad said, aquí se habla español. Because I was born in Chicago, I was born in the United States. So mom and dad are from Cuba, but had it not been for them speaking Spanish to me, I wouldn't be speaking Spanish here today. So it's been that.
So sometimes you're on an English station, you're talking English,
Yeah.
and you'll go into Spanish by habit.
But by habit, and there's really no thought, now that you bring it up, there's not too much thought that goes into it. I'm just very careful that if I'm interviewing Larry King, which, by the way, I'd like to extend an invitation onto my show. I'd love to have you on.
Absolutely.
I'm sure my audience would love to hear you in English and in Spanish. But when we're speaking in English, I'll be able to translate sufficient so that if you don't speak English, but you're listening to my Spanish show, I gave you enough information to understand it where you don't feel a disconnect, and vice versa.
SAB 616. This is interesting. Do you think differently in Spanish than you do in English?
I do. As a matter of fact, I think in English when I'm speaking Spanish. Very weird, but I'm thinking in English.
What'd you speak first?
English.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though
Well, at home, is the Spanish with mom? I guess so. I guess no. I'd have to say Spanish first at home with mom and dad, and then English.
Wow. You think radio is dying?
No.
How about when there'll be driverless cars?
Well, I don't think those tests are going so well. The news we had this morning or just the other day, they keep crashing, right? I think we still need
I
that
wouldn't
human.
get in one.
Yeah, me neither. That makes two of us. We go back to this.
So we'll always have radio.
Thank God.
And as long as we have radio, we'll have Enrique Santos. I will do your show. We will have you on again.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Enrique Santos, we thank him for being our guest today. Tu Manana con Enrique Santos is on the air.
Tú eres un mañana.
Mañana. It's on the air weekday mornings on 294.9. As always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and I'll see you next time. Hasta luego.